It's 9 a.m. or actually 9:02 a.m. And I would like to call to order the meeting of the Transportation Committee of July 25th, 2024. Before we begin, please note that this meeting is recorded. Welcome to my colleagues and everyone joining us here in person, as well as those listening on the phone. If you would like to provide public comment at today's meeting, and if you have not done so already, please let Thomas in the back of the room, or Justine on the call-in line know what items you would like to speak on today. Madam Secretary, please begin the roll call.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to start with Director Hernandez.
Here.
Multi-Peters is absent. Rabbit is absent. Rodoni.
Here.
Safai is absent. Thier.
Here.
Vice Chair Maston.
Here.
Chair Hill.
Here.
And President Cochran.
Here.
Thank you. You have a quorum, but you are also a committee of the whole. In the room, we also have Directors Garbarino, Giudice, Grosboll, Parr, and Tirio. So we are a committee of the whole.
Good. Thank you. Please follow along by referring to the page numbers located on the bottom right-hand corner of the meeting packet. Madam Secretary, please introduce the first item.
Thank you. The first item is item number 3, and that's a report on the advisory committees. That's going to be a big packet. If you had an actual piece of paper in front of you, it was 100 and some odd pages long. So 140 pages long. We opted not to print the entire packet just to save some trees. So we gave you the agendas for the meetings that have taken place since the last time the transportation committees met. They are all posted online, all 140 pages, if you do want to see it at our meetings website there with all the information. So if there's any questions, Ron is here in the back to answer any questions about advisory committees, and Dennis is also here if there's any questions directed at him.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or comments from directors regarding item number 3?
Not seeing any.
Okay. Well, I guess that concludes discussion of this item. Madam Secretary, is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on item 3?
We have no speakers for this item.
Okay. Thank you. No action is required on item 3. No action is, thank you, is required for item 3. We will move on to agenda item 4, which is to authorize execution of the Second Amendment relative to contract number 2022-Z-D as Delta-088 Regional Bus, Ferry, and Bridge User and Non-User Survey with Corey, Canapari, and Galanis. The staff report begins on page 133, and the Director of Planning, Ron Downings, is here to present the report. Ron, please begin your report.
Good morning, Chair Hill, members of the committee. This item will be presented by Barbara Vincent, Principal Planner in the Planning Department. She's the project manager for this study.
Okay.
Barbara.
Good morning, Chair Hill and members of the committee. The item before you today is for the Transportation Committee to recommend that the board authorize execution of the Second Amendment relative to contract number 2022-D-088, the Regional Bus, Ferry, and Bridge User and Non-User Survey, in an amount not to exceed $65,715 for requested additional services for the project, and to extend the contract performance period through October 31st, 2024. If approved, this matter would be presented to the Board of Directors at its July 26, 2024 meeting for appropriate action. On January 19th, 2024, the parties entered into the First Amendment, which extended the contract term through April 30th, 2024, because services were not yet complete due to a delayed project schedule. District staff have identified additional work to add to the project scope, which includes gathering information on travel needs from residents of the Canal District of San Rafael, and increasing the sample size. I heard somebody talking, it
That was
was me. And increasing the sample size of the non-user survey to analyze the resulting data more precisely for each of the counties served by bus, bridge, and ferry. The combined price of these efforts was agreed to be $65,715. And staff believes the price for the second amendment for this contract is fair and reasonable. The total fiscal impact for this amendment is $65,715. The original contract is for $338, and the total contract, including the proposed amendment, would be for $428,053. The cost for the second amendment will be absorbed in the fiscal year 24-25 Administration and Development Division operating budget. This concludes my report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Are there any questions? Michael?
No questions, just I note that some of the information preliminarily from this report has made its way to the public advisory committees, and I look forward to having it in front of us as well.
Thank you.
We will definitely be bringing the highlights of the results of the survey to the board later in this year.
Ollie?
Yes, I just want to thank you so much for the report and for all the work that was done on the survey. And we really appreciate all the effort. Thank you.
Thank you. We had a wonderful consultant who's done just a great job, and you guys will get to meet him later in the year when we do our presentation.
Are there any other questions? Go ahead, Sabrina.
My first time using the new mic, sorry. Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you for the presentation. Thank you for all the work on the survey. I as well look forward to being able to look at it and have it presented to us more in depth, more directly. And I also want to say thank you to you and the consultants for identifying the need to do more outreach with our client communities, or the people that we serve, particularly in the Canal District. So yes, I'm going to be voting in favor of the recommendation today. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Seeing none, that concludes the discussion on item number 4. Before we take our vote, is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on this item?
We have no speakers on this item.
Okay. Thank you. May I have a motion on agenda item number 4?
So moved.
Second.
You got those. And we got the second also. Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposition? No. Let the record show there is no opposition in the motion passage. We will now move on to item number 5, which is the monthly report of bridge traffic, transit ridership trends, and transit service performance. The staff report begins on page 139. Go ahead with your report.
I'll just briefly say if there's any questions, I can answer them. There's a report in finance that presents data a little differently, and it has the June data. But this one's helpful just because as of May of this year, bridge traffic was 13.7% below May before the pandemic. Our ferry ridership was down 30%, and our bus ridership was down 55%. So business is slowly coming back. We're growing when we compare it to the prior year, but it is still down. So I just thought I'd mention that in passing that, we're trending in a good direction, but we have a long ways to go. And obviously the bridge traffic being down 13.7% is the most important because that's how we pay for everything. And so we look forward to slow continued growth in traffic, and we rue the day that we start seeing it leveling off.
Thank you. Any other comments, Mayor? That concludes discussion on this item. Madam Secretary, is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on item 5?
We have no speakers for this item.
Thank you. No action is required on this information report. We will move on to item 6 for monthly report on activities related to Marin Transit. Dennis, do you have anything to report on this item?
All is good.
Good report.
Great report.
Well, are there any questions or comments from directors on item number 6?
I have a bridge I'd like to sell you. That's true.
And I see our residents are completely silent this time. That concludes discussion on this item. And there is no action required for item 6. Madam Secretary, is anyone from the public wishing to speak on item 6 or address the committee under item 7, which is public comment?
We have no speakers for this committee.
Okay. Thank you. We have reached the end of the agenda. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Thank you.
Hearing no object, or yes, may I, okay, are there any, hearing no objections, I should have asked you for objections. Okay. Hearing no objections, this concludes the meeting of the Transportation Committee. Thank you, colleagues. The time is 9:12 a.m.